So we've spoken about the idea or the concept of reversible versus irreversible reactions. And obviously if we're talking about equilibrium systems in chemistry, we're talking about reversible chemical systems. So reactions that can go both forward and in the reverse direction. Another important concept or distinction to make is the difference between extent of reaction and rate of reaction. So anytime we're talking about chemical equilibrium, we're talking about the extent of a chemical reaction, which means how far forward or backward that system has gone. So if it's set up as an equilibrium between the reactants on the one side and the products on the other, the position of the equilibrium or the extent of that chemical system or the yield are all terms referring to the same idea. They're saying how much product is produced from a given amount of reactants. Okay? Obviously some product will be produced and then it will react and go back to form the initial reactant, but over time how much of that product is able to be produced from a particular set of conditions. That's extent. This is not to be confused with the rate of a chemical reaction. The rate of chemical reaction we've already looked at. And when we're talking about that, we're talking about collision theory, we're talking about particles colliding together, and we're talking about how fast that system occurs. In an equilibrium system, we have the rate of reactants colliding and being in the right orientation with sufficient energy and then reacting to produce products, but we also have a second rate working in reverse, this time from the products, which are now also reacting, colliding with enough energy in the right orientation and reacting back to form the initial reactants. So rate is the speed at which those processes occur. Extent is measuring for the overall system how much of a product is it producing, and they're very distinct, separate things. But as we explore this topic, you'll see that there are similarities and there is overlap between some of the factors that affect both of them, and that is an area that students often find quite confusing at first.